Hello and welcome to The Fix, and today we're going to have a look at this Mercedes C250. It's been brought down to me on a recovery because it was at a garage for about 4 or 5 months and they condemned the ECU on it, saying that the ECU is faulty and that's why the car doesn't start up. See, if I put the ignition key in and turn the key on to the ignition and then I try and crank it, it doesn't crank over or anything. So look, it's not cranking over. First of all, I done a diagnostic scan on it, and on the scan I cannot get communication with the engine ECU, but I could get communication with the other modules. So now we're going to have to check if there is a problem with the ECU or if it's the wiring to the ECU that's faulty. So we'll have a look into that now. Okay, engine ECU is there, so I'll get the diagram in a minute and then check all the lives and earths going into the ECU, see if they're all okay before we start taking the ECU off and, you know, changing it or anything. So I've got to check if it's got all the lives and earths going into it. Right, because when you turn the ignition on, right, I don't think there's any power getting to the gearbox solenoid either, so you cannot get it into neutral. So what you have to do, if you just take this gator off, and then in here, see over there, there's this yellow button here. You just press that, and then you could put the car in neutral, like that. So now we could push the car. Right, now I'm going to check all the lives and earths going into the engine ECU over there, and I've got this wiring diagram. You can see here this fuse, I think fuse 6, this is one of the wires going to the ECU, pin 15, and then we've got the other live going off that fuse, which is fuse 25, and that's going to pin number 3, and then we've got fuse 27, which is going to pin 18, 16, and then we've got pin 95 and 94, the other 2 lives, and they're coming from fuse number 24. And then we got our 3 earths, which are pin 2, 4 and 6, and they're going to earth, which is 31 on the diagram, that terminal there. Right, first I'm going to unplug these, so you just slide that out, that one there, and same to this one. I could get behind it. Wait a minute. Right, now I think I'll have to slide this screwdriver in there and try and slide that one out. That's it, that's slid out now, and I've got that off. So now I'm going to have to take these off. I have to take these off. Oh no, I could see the pin numbers under here. So let me work out what pin is what, and then we'll look into that. The pin numbers, if you could see them, they're there. I'm going to connect my meter, the negative, the black of the meter lead to the negative of the battery, and this one, then we'll just switch it on and put it on volts. I'll put it on 20 volts DC, and then I'm going to check, I've got to check pin number 15 first. So let's see where pin 15 is on this. I hold it up like that. 19, 45, so okay, so if that's pin 7 there, that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, that's pin 15. So if I put the probe on there, yeah, if you could see on the meter, we've got battery voltage, so that one's okay. Alright, the next one to check is pin 3 for voltage. So let me see which is pin 3. 1, 2, 3 is here. You could see 3. So let's check that one. Okay, now that pin, as you can see on the meter, don't seem to have any voltage going to it. So let's see, that's one of our faults for the start. Right, so pin 3's got no voltage. Right, now after this I'm going to check. Okay, now we've got to check pin 16. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yep, 16 we've got battery voltage as well. Look, yep, got battery voltage, so that's okay. So the next one to check is the wires that we just checked was in plug F, and now we're going to look into plug M. If you can see the M there, and we're looking for 94 and 95 for voltage. So that says 73 there. So 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94. So 94 doesn't have any battery voltage on it, as you could see, and then I'll just check 95, which is the one above it, and that's got no battery voltage on it either, as you could see. Okay, so we've checked that now. We know that 94, 95 hasn't got no voltage, and what was the other one? Number 3. 3 was there. Yep, that had no voltage either. Okay, now I'm going to check the earth supplies, the ground supplies. Just to check the earth, what I'm going to do, this is the easier to check it, I'll just connect this to the other end, to the positive, the meter, and now I'll go to, which are pins 2, 4 and 6 should be the earth. So that's 2. You can see that's coming up with minus 12 volts on the meter, so that means that earth is good. The next one to check is 4. Yep, that's okay as well. As you can see on the meter, is coming at minus 12 volts. And then number 5, if you could see, that's coming at minus 12 volts as well. So all the earth supplies are okay. At the moment we've got a problem with 94, 95 and number 3. So let's look into that. It seems like right now we've got a problem with pin number 3, which is supplied by fuse 25. That's got no power supply coming to it. And then we've got a problem with pin 94 and 95, which are supplied from fuse 24. We've got no voltage coming in there. So we're going to have a look at the fuses now to check what's wrong with it. I'm just going to have a look in this fuse box now, if the fuses are located over here. It's got some fuses in it. Oh yeah, it's got numbers on it. So I said fuse 24 and 25. That's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Must be, what's that called? It's 22. I think 24 and 25 are here. So I'm just going to check if them fuses are okay. See, now if I check fuse 24, which is this one, you can see the numbers there, right? This has got no voltage on it. That one as well. That one. So them two haven't got no voltage, and that's the reason we're not getting no power supply to the ECU. But what we got to look at now in the diagram is where do they get their supply from, and looking at over here, if you see, it's 90 or 95, yep, they're getting their power supply from this relay K79-1V, so I think that's equals 4. So from there, that relay, now we're going to have to check that relay, if there's something wrong with it, or if there's no power getting to that relay and switching it on. Okay, now I'm going to pull this relay out. Yeah, see over under there it says K, so these two must be the K, which are the ignition relays. See over here it's got K79-1V ignition main circuits relay 4 and K79V1 ignition main circuits relay 6. So these must be both the ignitions relays. Okay, now I'm going to check this. That's right, there's a positive there, nothing there. That when this switches on, then the switch comes on and gives this one live. So we've got negative there and positive from the ignition. So that in there is working alright, but we're not sure if the relay's faulty. But while I'm there, I think I'm going to pull this relay out as well, the other ignitions relay, and check if that one's okay. Okay. Circuit on that seems to be okay. So if I put the relay in there, and this one back in there. Still no voltage. Okay, now I'm going to have to check if the relay is working. Alright, on this relay I'm just going to test if this relay is working. Over here you've got, this is the switch. When you give this one live or neutral and connect it to this one, you could actually hear the relay clicking. Can you hear that? The relay is clicking, so this relay is working. And let's check this one. Same thing with this. If I connect that to there, yeah, that's clicking as well. So that relay is working, and the circuit on here, on the relays, is fine so far. So we must have a problem. I think either inside this SAM unit or somewhere in the wiring down there. So that's what I'm going to look into in a minute. Right, I've jumped a wire. I've got a live here, so I've jumped one wire from there to this fuse circuit that supplies pin 94, 95 and pin 3. So now if you could see, all these fuses have got a live supply in them. Now they're all working as they should be. The power's going in. Now we're going to check at the ECU if we've got live coming in over there. Right, now I'm going to look at pin 3, because we've put our jumper wire there to give it voltage. See, now at pin 3 we got battery voltage, so that's how it should be working. And now we've got to look at pin 94 and 95. Right, now let me just count from the bottom. 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94. So 94, got no voltage still. Let me just, yeah, the meter's working fine, so that's 95. And 94, they still got no voltage going to them. And we've got voltage at the fuses now, and because of providing voltage to the fuses, we've actually got voltage on pin number 3 of the ECU, but we still haven't got voltage here. So I just got to check what that problem is. I'm going to try and take this cover off now. Oh, that's it, that's come off. Most probably slid in, yeah, slides in from the front, so we'll put it back that way. Having another look at this wiring diagram properly, I've noticed that K46 is the relay that powers up fuses 25 and 24. If you could see there, it's got the power line going there, and that's switched on by the engine ECU, pin number 50. You get power signal to switch on that relay, which supplies power to the two fuses, and these two fuses supply power to 95 and 94, the pins on the ECU. As you could see now, because before I didn't have the ECU plugged in, now I've got the ECU plugged in, so now that I've got it plugged in, that switches on this relay that supplies power to these fuses. So now these fuses should be live, which they are. So that's all working properly, but that's all working properly, and now because we've got power there, we should have power to pin 94 and 95. Now if I look at that, we still haven't got no power there, even though the power is at the SAM unit. So now we just got to investigate what's wrong with that. Right, now I'm going to check the CAN lines from the ECU. If you see there, pin 54 and 41 is the high CAN lines. I'm going to check if they're working. How I'm going to check it is just see if there's voltage there. There should be like 2.3, 2.5 volts at them wires. So that's what we'll check next. The CAN bus is in this plug, so I'm just going to take that out. And also I want to cut this off. Okay, I'll do that. Right, I'm just going to cut this cable tie off. And then pry this off. We meant to just pry it off like this, but we could slide it back in. That's it, that's off now. So I'm going to plug that back in. Okay, these two are the CAN wires. So if I probe that, and look, I'm getting 2.14 volts, so that one's okay. And the other line, 1 second. And that one, yeah, I'm getting 2.4546 volts, so the CAN lines are okay. Now we still have to look at, we're getting no power to pin 94 and 95. So I've just got to look into that, why that's happening. Okay, now that we've come to the conclusion that the ECU is faulty because all our power supplies and earths are getting to the ECU and they're all fine. I've checked them according to the diagram. And what we're going to do now, I'm going to take the ECU off. That one's always a bit stiff. Yeah, that's it. Let's come off. And then you just unclip these and it slides out. So now I'm going to get hold of another ECU. Okay, on this Mercedes we needed an ECU, so I ordered one and I bought one, and then I sent them off to a company that clones them. So I took the original one off. This is the original one, that's why I stuck a sticker on it saying the original old ECU. They were meant to clone the information from this one onto that pre-owned one that I bought, but when I sent it to them they couldn't read this ECU. It's so badly burnt or shot that they couldn't read this ECU to transfer the information onto the other one, to clone the other one. So then after that I asked them to virginize the other one so I could program it in. So when they checked that ECU they couldn't communicate with that one either, so that was faulty, so I had to send that one back. But now what I've done, I went and bought the new ECU. it's refurbished, but it's the next best thing to a brand new one. So now what we're going to do, we're going to program this ECU into the car. Right, so I'm going to plug this new ECU in. No, it goes this way. Plug. That one in there. And that one in there. And what I've also done, I've connected a set of jump leads to it. I'm going to jump it off that car, because while we're doing any kind of programming, you must maintain the battery voltage to over 12.7 volts. So the battery voltage has to be maintained high, otherwise you could mess up the whole procedure and brick the ECU. Right, I've connected up my SD Connect to the car. This is the Mercedes diagnostics tool, and I've also got my new version of Zentry in there. So now what we're going to do, go into passenger cars, and this is a 204 VIN, so we click on that and then we do continue. Right, it says which the engine number and all that. I don't know, so I'm just going to do continue to all. Right, then it comes up with the picture of the car. Then you do Zentry diagnostics. Right, and now it's actually reading the car. It's going to read the VIN information in a minute. By the way, I haven't done this before. This is the first time I'm doing it, so I don't know if it needs to go into online programming. If it does, then I'll become stuck, because I haven't got an online account to Mercedes at the moment. So what we'll do, we'll just try and program this ECU in. Hopefully it doesn't need online authorization or SCN coding or anything. It might just go through. So it says switch on ignition, so I've switched on the ignition now. Now it's carrying on reading the car. Right, let's come up with the car now. So what we'll do, we'll go into the initial quick test. Let's do a quick test on it. See, the data is being determined. Please wait. Okay, it's come up with that now. So if I go and see that green arrow, if I click on this now, that's going to start the quick test. Okay, now it's got the quick test results, so we want to see all the arrows mean, the ticks mean that it's no problems there, no faults. Usually if it has an F next to it, if it's got faults. Right, according to looking at this now, this should start up, because the control unit ME is initialized and control unit lock of the control ME is released. They did say, the company that I bought it from, is plug and play. You'll have to do some control unit changes like variant coding or something. So if I continue on the, or let me see, if I just continue on it, see, that's what I mean. It's got the VIN code stored. That's not the VIN of this car. But it says here, the VIN stored in this control unit must match the VIN of the vehicle. This is not the case. The control unit must be first coded via menu, item, SCN coding. After teaching of the drive authorization system, the VIN can no longer be changed after you authorized it. So if we have to do SCN coding, you have to go online, so I won't be able to do that right now. So let's just do yes to it. Yeah, do you want to personalize it? Yes, we'll do that as well. Right, teach and drive authorization. Start the combustion engine and allow to idle for 10 seconds. Right, so let's start it. Yep, well, it started up. So that means it's a good thing, but I don't know if we'll be able to change the VIN now. But as long as it, you know, stays started up, no problem. And now it's saying switch off combustion engine and switch on ignition. So if I switch it off and then I switch on ignition again, and then you press continue. Switch off ignition, saying over there. Switch on ignition. It says continuing the procedure without switching the ignition on can lead to faults or errors in the procedure. So we'll switch the ignition on first, and then, oh, it's done continue itself. It's saying teaching of driver authorization system, the control unit lock of control ME is released, control ME is personalized. The process can only be performed once and the new control unit is not reversible. Do you want to activate control unit? Yes, we do. So we just click on the yes. Teaching drive authorization. Do you really want to activate? Yep, we do. So we do that. Assigned to the vehicle and can no longer be personalized. So it's been done. Teaching of drive authorization system, control unit ME is firmly assigned to the vehicle and can no longer be personalized. So if we just do continue. Okay, no selection made, it's done. I think it's finished. Now let me start it up. Yep, it's all starting up, all the engine management lights are going off. That's a very good sign. So we managed to program it in without going online to do any SCN coding or other programming online. Okay, now that we've fixed the engine ECU of this car and we replaced it with a new one and managed to program it in everything, and the job is done, and I hope you like the video. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and also click the bell icon so you could get all the future videos of the fix. Thank you, and remember, don't jinx it, fix it.